Hey, I'm Theresa Nilsen, and I'm the treasurer for the Leif Erikson Lodge. And I am here to help you learn to make blot kake, which I learned to make from my mother-in-law 50 years ago. And I have made many of these cakes, one for every birthday of my family over the years. So what we do first is we're going to give you the recipe. Very easy. 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of sugar, 1 1/2 teaspoons of baking powder, 5 to 6 eggs. You can use 5 eggs if they're jumbo eggs, or 6 eggs if they're just normal size large eggs. So that's the recipe for the actual cake itself. Then we're going to frost the cake with a whipping cream frosting, which you're going to use 2 cups of whipping cream, sweetener to taste, and a little bit of vanilla, maybe up to a teaspoon of vanilla. We will also fill the cake with, you can fill it with fruit. Strawberries and blueberries is what we're going to use today, but in the winter time I use mandarin oranges and blueberries. And if you use 2 cans of mandarin oranges, the smaller cans, you can soak the cake with the liquor that's in the mandarin oranges. Today we're going to soak the cake with sweetened milk, and we take about a cup of sweetened milk and soak both halves of the cake. My son has done a about face on this. He wanted to have a cake that had chocolate sprinkles and shavings in it, so he decided he was going to use Kahlua to flavor the milk. So he put in a little bit of Kahlua, and he also put in a little bit of Kahlua in the whipping cream that would go in the center. And so when the chocolate curls go in there, you have that little extra adult flavor, which you may not want to do if you have children eating this cake. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to show you how to separate eggs. It's very important that you separate them into a small bowl and put your egg yolk into the bowl we're going to use, and then we're going to put the one for the egg white to be beat into this container. If you make the mistake and do all of this in just one container, you could have 4 eggs in here, and the 5th egg could have a slight bit of yolk in it because something happened, and you'd ruin the entire batch for your whipping. We've separated our egg whites, and we get those started first whipping, and I've separated 4 of them because while you're mixing the yolks, the whites can be beaten because you want them really stiff. Then we're going to add our sugar, and to this sugar I have already added the baking powder, 1 1/2 teaspoons of baking powder. I mixed it in because I figure when you mix it into the egg yolks, you get it mixed very well. So we pour that in, and then we start to beat. And I like to use a wooden spoon. It's a little quieter than a metal spoon. So when you see this, the eggs are now really runny. Then I'm going to put in my teaspoon or so of vanilla. I don't measure really, I just kind of use the cap. And then we're going to sift in our flour, the whole thing. Egg yolks are done, or egg whites are done. Now you see how thick it is. It's really thick, just like glue almost. Then what I do is, since these are right in the beater, I just go ahead and plop them right into there. Then we start to fold. And the first batch, you can be a little more gingerly when you're folding them in, because we have more egg yolks here to fold in so they maintain the color and the nice lightness. And at this point, I usually switch to a spatula because it's easier. And once I get them kind of loosened up and a little lighter, then I take them and I transfer them into my bowl that has the egg whites. Smells so good with the vanilla. And then we're just going to fold and fold and fold. You want to try and keep the whites as fluffy as possible. At the same time, you also want to make them all disappear, so you don't have big clumps of white in your cake. We're almost there. Now when you look, you don't see any whites. It's just this nice light color. Now, before you put this in your springform pan, I cut out a piece of parchment paper that I line the bottom. That way the cake releases from the bottom nicely. And you put the spray on the sides. If you're not into spray, you could always butter and flour this pan. But I'm new school, I like to use the spray. Then we just fold the cake in. And trying to get everything out of there. Then what I do is I just take the spatula, and while I'm turning the pan, I just kind of level it off. Then it's ready for the oven. I might also add that we did preheat our oven to 300 degrees. This is going to go in the oven for 1 hour. Which 110 is when it's going to be done. By the magic of television, our cake is done. And it is cooled. We release our springform pan. You get your nice plate that you're going to have it on. We're going to flip it over. And see how nicely that comes off? We're going to pull off the parchment. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it back over. And before we begin this, we're going to whip our cream so it's ready. Okay, we're going to add a little bit of sugar to taste. I figure, I don't know, maybe a couple of tablespoons. If you like it sweeter, you can make it sweeter. We're also going to put in a little bit of vanilla, about a teaspoon or thereabouts. We're going to mix this together. And this is whipping much faster than what you will experience because I pre-whip some of the cream just to save time. Because you want your cream to form peaks, really nice peaks, stiff. So now in order to prepare the cake, we need to split the cake. So we're going to, again, twirl the cake with your hands, cutting through, kind of try and cut through maybe halfway. And I use a bread knife that's serrated, works the best. Then we're going to put half of the cake on the plate. And this is sweetened milk. Like I said, you can use fruit juice, different flavors to your milk if you'd like to. But then you just need to soak the cake. And if I'm using the mandarin oranges, then I use the liquor from the can of the mandarin oranges. So I kind of eye it to see if it's got enough stuff, and then I do the same for the other side. And in fact, we'll probably use the rest of this. If you don't put enough liquid when you're soaking the cake, it really tastes dry. Okay. Next step is the frosting. And what I try and do is when I have just the first layer, I try and go ahead and frost the bottom first, a little bit easier than waiting until you have the whole cake. Okay. Then we want to build the cream up a little bit to the edges. So when you squish on the top, it squishes out the cream. Now the strawberries are going to go in the center, which I'm going to take a spoon. Kind of try and keep them in the center so they don't bleed out. And then we're going to also put some blueberries. This would be a great 4th of July cake. red, white, and blue. Okay, and then we're going to take your other half, flip it over, and then carefully put it on the first half. And press it down. And we're going to do more whipping cream. Very low calorie cake, I mean. Like I say, everything in moderation. As soon as you get your whipping cream on, then you can decorate it however you want to decorate it. Like I said, we have blueberries and strawberries today. There. Oh, stay up there. Make sure no cake is showing through. Okay. Always leave one strawberry hole for the very middle. Oops. You got whipping cream all over yourself. So you can have all kinds of fun decorating this, because you can put strawberries around the bottom if you want to. I usually just put them on the top. And then I take my blueberries. Just place them around. If you like blueberries, you can use lots. Couple more there. And there we have it. Your strawberry blueberry blue kake. Enjoy. So now we're going to slice the cake so you can see what it looks like inside. It's always fun to try and miss the strawberries. Excuse my fingers. So that's what it looks like for eating. Please enjoy.